Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wise Kracks, the last episode of the year. Bill Krackomberger. This makes me a little sad, but we pick it right back up next year.
Yeah, I'll see you in a year. Yeah. So today, we have a dedicated program. It's funny now. He doesn't realize this probably. I'm going to tell him now, though. We've had such unbelievable guests on this show. Literally from Marcus Allen to Warren Moon.
Ozzie Smith,
which the backflip he was calling. Yo, Crack, he was calling me Crack. Ozzie Smith.
Teddy Atlas.
Dick Vitale. We've had such great... But I'm more excited for our in-studio guest today.
Yeah.
I am.
You know I love it.
Yeah. No, Anthony Curtis. By the way, your dad was my favorite guest of all. I should have got to mention him. Your dad in studio for an hour and a half blew me away.
Yeah, that was... I learned
happy
things.
Laughing to tears. I mean, he got me.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Anthony Curtis is with us. He's the founder of Las Vegas Advisor, very sharp advantage gambler, and we really appreciate you coming in studio with us.
Well, I'm thinking there was a little BS.
No, it really isn't.
Up there,
you don't know, I swear. Last week he was talking about this.
I was talking about last week.
Wait a minute, Ozzie Smith? I mean, come on.
Ozzie, the Wizard of Oz.
I mean, you know. It's that's cool. Thank you.
I understand those guys are all like sports heroes, of course. Right. Like we found out stuff like Warren Moon. I had no idea until he was on our show. I had no idea he didn't play in the NFL till he was 28.
Yeah,
I was like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah, he was in Canada, right?
Canada.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Like, and Marcus Allen's been on the show many times.
Yeah.
With us, and John was with Marcus and Mark Davis this week, and Mark Wahlberg this weekend,
crazy.
And Dana White this weekend.
Yeah.
He was with them all at the game this weekend.
You mean like real celebrities? Okay, I got it. I got it.
He was with them, and that's not me though. I'm a blue collar guy. You know, John's in there with all his guys mucking it up, throwing cash around. It's not what I do. But yeah, so listen, Anthony, I let me explain to John. He doesn't know. I used to get the Las Vegas Advisor around 1992 in New Jersey. Because I was, I went to Vegas the first time, and I was like, I told my wife, who we were dating at the time, I was like, this thing is great. And she used to buy it for me every year for Christmas. And then they went to digital in like 2000, maybe? 2000?
Yeah, well, we added digital.
They added digital. So then I just got it digitally. But Anthony has brought one of the versions here. This was it. It used to get mailed to you, as you see. This is the last, I believe this is the last printed one that you've had.
That's this month. That's this month. December 2022. Right. And we made, it says right here on the top, it says last one.
Wow.
And it's the last printed one we're going to do.
Ever.
After all this time. Well, never say
Makes
ever,
sense.
right?
It's still nice to touch it, feel it, hold it, but it doesn't make sense to print anymore,
look, it's
right?
it's another COVID casualty. I mean, COVID did all this stuff. It raised the prices of everything.
Yeah.
It delayed deliveries. Our people are now getting it, those who get the print copy are getting it in the middle of the month now. And it just didn't make any sense.
Oh, wow.
And we just said, it's time to get into the 2020s. And
how many do you print?
Well, we were printing about 15,000.
Wow, it's a lot.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't like it. They don't like change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hate change.
Sure. Well, everyone hates change.
No, I do.
But it's going to be cool online. You can do.
Sure, it's easy to look at it.
Yeah, and you can use color pictures. You can, you don't have to be in a box where you can only write so much. You can do. It's going to be more, So it's going to be fine. It's just going to be something for people to have to get used to.
So you understand that this was like the Bible before I come to town, and anyone came to town. Literally, all the casinos' telephone numbers. I have to tell you how valuable this is. Even if you Google a telephone number, you'll get the 800 number. This has the local number.
That's the actual building, not a call center wherever.
Yes, couponomy. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, couponomy.
Couponomy, a different. First of all, this magazine and this online pays for itself if you utilize it properly. Back then, there used to literally be so many coupons in it that you come to Vegas one time and it pays for the subscription for the year.
Well,
is it the same thing?
Yeah, not back then. It's more now. And I mean, really, that's why we made the change, because to be honest with you, people buy it for the coupons. Every year we have what we call member rewards. And there's, 60 to 100 discounts. And I mean, for example, I just found out for 2023, the Palms is giving us a buy one, get one on their buffet. Now that their lobster buffet is $70.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a $50 membership.
Yeah.
And if you want to go to the lobster buffet with your wife or something, you save $70 on one coupon out of 100.
Pays for itself right there.
It pays for itself.
So I mean,
how much is this? How much you get?
It's
Digital.
50? $50. It's just $50.
$50 for the year. One thing pays for itself. Literally.
It's a genius idea. You've had this since
He's got tons of coupons.
1983.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I say this. I had one
genius.
I had one good idea in my life.
This was it.
That was it.
How much was it in '83?
It's like $12.
$12.
But I'll tell you what, we did not, because we didn't have any coupons then, and it was just something real, quick that we sent out. It
was more like tips, just tips.
Yeah, we went to $50 in 1992, and we've never raised it.
Wow, and it's still
then.
$50.
Yeah, we've never raised it.
I almost want us to go to 99. You know how I say us?
$99.
I think we should go to 99.
but you know what? It's sort of a de facto price raise because people who were paying $50 were getting it in the mail. Now they're not getting it in the mail. But
right.
That's for us was sort of a measure that gave us more margin.
Right.
And allowed us to do it. But I mean, prices just keep going up. What are you going to do?
The top 10 values in there always. I mean, but you understand that these companies are making money because of this too. Even though he's saying like they give you a $50 free, that you get them in the building. You get them in the building, they're going to gamble a little bit. Now you give them $50. Top 10 values. Room rates at Binion's. I mean, steak there in Ellis Island still $10, 24 hours. It's unbelievable. I went in Ellis Island recently and I was shocked in the morning time how many people were in there on a Saturday morning. I was like, wow, this place is unbelievable. Literally top 10 things there. The hot dog at the South Point.
You gotta have it.
I've done it.
I got to tell you.
I've done it.
I'm trying to figure out a way to circumvent the maximum hot dogs. You can only get 3.
Oh,
got to circumvent and go back around and put a mustache on.
You got to beard in.
Yeah, got to beard in. But yeah, so this is some of the stuff you get with the Las Vegas Advisor, which is LasVegasAdvisor.com now.
Yeah.
So LasVegasAdvisor.com. Love this stuff. I have to ask you something, though. I found out some stuff here coming in. Where did you grow up, Anthony, as a kid?
Detroit.
Okay, Detroit. And
Detroit
then,
area.
and what made you come did you come to Vegas when you were 19, 20, 15? What year?
Well, here's the story. I was in high school. I was in 10th grade in Dearborn, Michigan.
Yep.
And I was Polish family game players, man. I mean, I was on another show with you, Krack. You were talking about playing pinochle. And I used to sit around all the kids. We'd go to Christmas or Easter or whatever, and all the kids would go out and play. And I would sit at the pinochle table.
Oh my! I didn't know that part.
Yeah, watch my dad and grandfather play.
That's what my dad and grandpa.
They'd let me sit in on a hand, whatever. And by the time I was 5 or 6 years old, they were letting me sit in and play their hands when they went to the bathroom and all that.
Wow!
And I just got better than they did. I mean, I was just a card player, right?
Wow!
I was good at cards. I was good at games where probability was involved, like Monopoly. You'd be playing Monopoly and you go, you're just a kid, and you go, oh man, I can't build right now because a 7 will land me on his hotel. I got to have cash excess, So I was doing things like that before I was 10 years old. And one day a guy came to the house who used to play with us, and he said, I think you'll understand this. He hands me a book on blackjack. And I just devoured it, man.
Wow.
And I read it through,
At that age?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no, by then I was in 10th grade.
Okay.
So I'm about
you're
15 or 16. And I just made up my mind. I said, this is something I can do. This is something I want to do. So I went to college on athletic scholarship, and I went to Duke. And I'm at Duke. I'm taking classes at Duke, but I'm really studying blackjack and reading books. And then I got a scholarship. This is wrestling scholarships and the other was to UCLA. So now I'm getting closer to Vegas.
Two unbelievable schools.
Closer to Vegas, right? And then as soon as I turned 21, my dad's a university professor. He is a professor.
Sure.
I drop out of college without a degree, and I come to Vegas. So that's how it worked out.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Was he upset at you?
My dad was a smart guy, and he wasn't happy, but he was like, I get what you're doing. He goes, it makes sense. He was into statistics. He understood. And he goes, I don't think you're going to like this decision, but he goes, I think you'll, he says, I know you can take care of yourself. And I told him, I said, you know what, someday there'll be other things I can do that are related. He goes, such as what? I said, such as publishing. And this is like when I'm 20, I'm getting ready to go.
So
I go like publishing.
Knew.
Yeah, I kind of had a plan. And I'll never forget, we were driving, he looks over at me and smiles. He goes, now that makes sense. That's what he says. That makes sense. And I ended up publishing him before.
Oh, really?
Before he died.
Oh, how nice. That's so cool. And by the way, let's speak about that. Your publishing company, you've had so many gambling books. And is this still Huntington? Am I thinking about it? Huntington Press.
Yeah.
And you guys have had some of the top gambling books of all time.
I've absolutely heard
his
of
company.
Press.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, the who's who of gambling books. Am I
right?
Yeah. We are the best publishers of gambling books because our books are good. there's a lot of garbage out there on the market. And
That's right.
Because of my background and the things that I did, I understand it, and I know what's good and I know what's bad. Not only that, but I got guys who are better than me, bringing them me their stuff. Right. I don't even have to edit them. A guy named James Grosjean.
Sure.
You can't edit Grosjean. He's too good.
He's one of the greatest blackjack guys of all time.
Really?
James Grosjean.
All things. I would, somebody called him the Rambo advantage play. They said, basically you could put him in a casino naked and he'd come out with the money. That kind of deal. And he's not a cheat.
He's been back room though, and like literally, like I don't know. I'm not gonna say roughed up. Is that the right words?
Yeah, he didn't. That kind of changed with the Alan Brown Barry Finn thing way back at the Horseshoe time. Okay. And I actually played on a team with Alan Brown, so I know the story pretty well. But these guys were taken into the back room downstairs at the Horseshoe. This is way back, 25 years ago. 30 years ago almost, and they were beaten badly. Okay. They were beaten badly. He almost died.
Wow.
And that almost changed everything. Now, there's still some random stuff. We call them cowboys. The cowboys get a hold of you, and they want to, flex their muscles a little bit. And some guys get pushed around a little bit. But most of that stopped because how bad that one really was.
Yeah. So, wow.
That was, if you see the movie Casino.
Sure.
Where they got the guy in they put his hand, they break
up,
his hand.
Yeah.
That's pretty much loosely based on that situation.
Wow. Such a good scene.
Yeah, such a good scene.
Oh.
The other guy comes in, he said, you want the hammer or the money?
Yeah.
What's funny
the
about
hammer
that? Most people won't know about this, but the guy who was the cop chasing him all around, was it Fishburne or was it?
Fishburne.
I think it was Fishburne.
Yep.
Well, he was patterned after a guy named Andy Anderson.
Okay.
And Andy Anderson was about white as white can get.
Wow.
But it would always be, this was the cops and robbers, just like Fishburne and Casino was always showing up. It would be Andy Anderson in real life who would show up. That's what that was about.
Oh, wow. Cool. Let me ask you, out of all the books you've had, what's your most successful books, top 2 or 3 books that you've had that maybe even surprised you?
Well, this is crazy. It's hard to believe, but the biggest seller we've ever had for books was The Frugal Gambler by Gene Scott.
Gene Scott. Yeah. I know that's the biggest seller.
You've read all those.
Well, I used to. I'm an advisor guy.
Sure.
So Gene Scott was a great video poker player. She moved out of town. Her and her husband, right? They moved out.
Yeah.
But
well, the Gene Scott story was interesting because she was on Dateline. We got her on Dateline, and they were following her around, talking about being in Vegas and winning. And they were filming live at a drawing at the Stardust, and she won a car. And that was live, and you could just tell how real it was, and it was on Dateline. And that week, her book went to number 2 on Amazon.
Unbelievable.
Number 2. The only one it could not get over was one of the Harry Potters.
Oh, unbelievable.
I mean, that's understandable.
But for a day and a half, she was number 2. We had a book that was number 2.
Wow.
We had another book that went to number 6 or number 8. I think number 6, and that was Knockout Blackjack by Olaf Van Keulen.
Great book.
It's
probably still a very applicable book, by the way. If you wanted to learn blackjack, there's 1 or 2 ways I think of really making money in blackjack. That's one of them. So
yeah. And it was the subtitle of that was the easiest card counting system ever devised, and it really is, because you eliminate. It's called an unbalanced count. And what you do is you eliminate a conversion to the true count, which is one thing that really fouls people up when they're trying to do it.
It does.
That's something that they have a hard time with.
They do.
So that was, and then if you want to talk about the biggest selling thing of all time, they're strategy cards. Bob Dancer.
Wow.
Video poker strategy cards.
Wow.
We've sold
video poker strategy cards.
How to play video poker perfectly on X number of games. And we've sold 250,000 of those.
That's surprising with Google. Like Google, you can almost pull it up, just put in any game now, and the strategy will come up. Usually, I can't think of his name right now, but he comes up all the time in his site.
Shackelford.
Yeah, Michael Shackelford comes
Wizard
up.
Of Oz.
Wizard of Oz will come up. So, but Bob Dancer's cards came up also.
Yeah, well, dancers, they are the best. I mean, they really are. There's 3 levels of play: very easy, middle, and then expert.
Oh, nice.
And it's packaged nice, and it's got all the rules, and it explains.
So they're just little cards. You can bring them right to the casino with you. Have them handy.
Yeah, you put them in your pocket, and when you need one, you come up to one. You learn as you go. Obviously, you need the card less and less.
Absolutely.
But then you take it out and take a look, and nobody gets mad at you. You don't get yelled at. It's not considered a device. And, you can do that.
Wow. So you've had this for also the publishing part of it and the Las Vegas Advisor. The Advisor's still going now, guys. It's online now. So just to know, you're going to get all the same information that you get inside this unbelievable book. Like I said, I used to have this all the time, this subscription all throughout the 90s, 2000s, and then I moved to Vegas. But so I was really excited to have you in here also for what you just said, blackjack card counting. So people think that blackjack card counting is harder than it is, first of all, in my opinion. It's much easier than that. I mean, literally, I say you can learn 90% of what I know literally with a couple internet lessons, 8 hours of internet lessons, just learning yourself and just simple stuff. But the problem is the things that people get screwed up with, where maybe the KO Blackjack's better, is that sometimes that conversion is difficult for people that keep a running count. It's more of a sophisticated thing when you're like, I personally, if I'm out, I can't help myself. Even if I'm in a casino with friends, my brain just reverts to doing I do a Wong's half count, which is a little bit more of a sophisticated, but it's not that hard. But a basic high-low is a fantastic thing for anyone to learn. Just the value of aces and fives, little things like that. Am I saying this right, Anthony?
Yeah, you're talking about the difference of 1 and 2 and 3 level counts. So
right.
I think that Wong's halves was I think it was a 3 level count, wasn't it? I actually used it for a little while.
Yep.
So I switched to Houston APC, another 3 level count. Now, if I were to go back and do it again, I would use a 1 level count, which is easier. That's the high-low that you're talking about.
Yep.
And you're just keeping track of what?
You're keeping track of basically 1 point for a high card. I mean, 1 negative point for a high card, 1 positive point for a low card, as opposed to saying, like in my count, 2s and 8s are +1, 3s, 4s, 6s, and 7s are +2, 5s are +3, hence 3 levels. Aces are counted separately on your foot, and there's an adjustment made.
Yep.
10s are -3, 9s are -1. See, this is quite complicated, and it's just ego. It's just ego. That's why I did it. I thought I'm going to be cool and do this 3 level count.
And maybe even I agree. It's people should just do a basic high-low count and maybe keep a side track of aces. That's what and believe it or not, it's easier than you think. Every hand you're going, okay, after the hand's over, it's -4 or 5. 5 means side count. There's 5 aces out. Next hand -2, 6 aces out. It's actually simpler than you think after a couple sessions. And listen, it's such a minute edge though. I don't think the casinos should throw you. I've never talked to Anthony about this. I think the casinos are more scared of it than they should be. I would allow most counters, because of the skill sets you need, to count right in my garage and play against me, and me being in the house. I think that casinos are more scared than they should be about it. Listen, it's a 1% edge, maybe 2 at the ridiculous levels. It's nothing. It's minuscule, but yet it's an old thing. You watch these movies and people just think it's a bigger advantage than it is.
Yeah, the casinos, if you're a real smart guy in the casino, you act like you're scared and you don't, because you want people to try to do it to you. But most of it is just misunderstanding. They don't get it. They think they're losing at 10%, 15%.
That's right.
Which is baloney. You just said 1 to 2, man. I've always used 3/4
of 1%.
Yeah,
See what I mean?
0.75% is your advantage here.
Yeah.
It's so hard. The swings are so wild. People go on tilt. And again, I've always said it's 2 parts. It's science and art, and the science is learning, and it's pretty easy to learn, like Bill just said. Pretty easy to learn to do it. The art is getting away with it. Not letting them know that you're doing it, and a lot of guys and girls who try it get screwed up there.
Anthony, I'm going to admit something here on the show I've never talked about publicly. We've talked about it a little bit privately. So I have some really unbelievable wealthy friends that fly in on private jets, and at least 3 of them that come in from they're all the East Coast, all 3 guys I'm thinking of. And I was all pumped up. I was like, wow, these guys come in with $1 million credit line. I'm going to come in with them. I'm going to help them out. Blackjack, make some money. You wouldn't believe how it hasn't worked out, because they all have their own little egos.
Right.
They're businessmen. They're very successful. They don't want no one showing them anything. They want to be with their entourage, and I don't even say nothing anymore. I just hang out. I just go to hang out, and I'm just sit there. And the last time I did this, a friend of mine came in, $1 million on the table. I have a video and a couple pictures on my phone. I had a ridiculous, one of the highest counts of all time on a shoe that I've ever seen in my life. I still wouldn't tell him, and I would have went broke.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe what happened. It was like, he somehow only lost 45,000. This guy bets 20, he bets 20, 30, 40, 50,000 once in a while. He was betting 2,000, 3,000, and he was losing, so he wasn't going any higher. He lost like 45,000 in a shoe, where I would have lost his entire bankroll. Yeah. The dealer had like literally 9 blackjacks. I couldn't believe it.
Well, when there's high cards in there, the blackjacks can go either way. That's
they can go either way.
People don't understand. They're going to go to the dealer as often as they go to you. You get 3 to 2. That's the difference.
You get 3 to 2 is the difference. Yeah, and you have the option, of staying on 16, and which you do a lot in black. And when you're counting, you'll stay on 6. People don't realize that. Oh my God, you stayed on 6. That's why it's hard to play with other people, and you always want to be in the right base too. It's a lot of little intricate moving parts here.
It's thankless job to try to help somebody.
It's a thankless job. That's it.
You can't do that. I mean, I was in a bar the other day, and a guy calls me over. He knew who I was.
Yeah.
And he goes, "How do I play this hand?" He had a video poker hand.
Okay.
I go, "You do this, this." And he looks at me. He goes, "Oh no."
He said, "Oh no."
Yeah. And he played,
oh my God. Why ask?
I said, "What'd you ask me for?" I said, "Don't ever ask me again."
Yeah.
I said, "Why did you ask me? Why did you waste my time?"
Right.
I told him what to do. He's
Sure.
He goes, "Oh no."
Anthony, and that's something Anthony likes to do. He goes to a couple of the bars around time, gambles around at some of the bars. I was on a show with him recently. I've kind of never been in really one of them because I can't take the cigarette smoke, kills me, so I stay out of bars. But I'll go if there's a progressive on the video poker that's worth more than 100%. But I never thought to ask, is your food free if you're gambling? Is your drinks are free? And they at a lot of the major places in town here, they are free.
Not always the food. Sometimes there's a deal for gamblers. Like for instance, there's a place called Sammy's up here, wood fried pizza or something like that.
Of course.
If you're playing video poker, everything on the menu is half price.
Wow.
No matter what you play.
No matter what you play,
no matter what you're doing. But everywhere you go, the drinks are free.
Drinks are free.
And I mean,
okay.
People go, "Why do you do that? Why do you go play in these things?" I go, "Well, first of all, my job is to go around Vegas and find cool things. So I go to different bars. Second is I work 7 days a week, and I work all day. And at the end of the day, I want to relax.
Yeah.
I like having a couple of beers.
Right.
And when you do the mathematics on this, the amount you're losing, and you are losing in most bar games, you're losing at a certain pace that you can quantify, but it's less. You're losing less than you would if you were paying $7 or $8 for those beers.
Wow.
So I'm literally coming. I explained to them. They go, "Well, you're this quote advantage player, right? This quote advantage player who always plays with the edge." I go, "I'm playing with the edge." I go, "I want those beers. I want those 3 beers."
Right.
You're going to pay for them anyway.
Yeah, that's $24.
Right.
And my expected loss, my EV in playing this game was about $6.
Wow.
All right, so I'm paying $2 a beer instead of $8 a beer, and that's why I do it.
Yeah. And what's your beer of choice right now?
It kind of depends, but Heineken. I usually drink Heineken.
The old school Heineken.
My dad.
I was saying,
my dad, Heineken.
Heineken.
Yep, goes to a baseball game, he gets Heineken.
Wow.
You know why I do it?
Why?
I do it I do it now because I've done it for years, and I'm used to it. But one of the greatest blackjack minds of all time was a guy named Peter Griffin.
Sure.
And, isn't that funny? From the home guy or whatever he's called. But the guy's name was Peter Griffin, and Griffin and I got to be. One of the things that made it for me was running into Peter Griffin early in 1981, and I met him. I walked up to him. It was like asking a girl out for a date, and I walked up to him and I said, like picking the most beautiful girl in the whole casino and asking her out. I had to get up the courage. I walked up to Griffin. I go, "Can I buy you a beer?" And he's like, "Yeah." We go and
wow.
We hit it off. And we're friends until the day he died. And he always drank Heineken. I always drank Heineken with him. So I continue to drink.
Well, I grew up in a little blue collar town. We used to get these little things called nips. I don't know if everyone even knows what they are. They're like little, were they 8-ounce beers? Can that be right? It was little tiny beers. 8 of them you got in the thing. And our goal was to always have Heineken though, but it was too expensive. That's too expensive. So that's one of the things that I know that you like a good fine beer once in a while, and you go out checking out the video poker things. Now, one thing I mentioned here about the video poker at the bars, do you? Because I know some really sharp guys in the slot industry business. Believe it or not, guys, there are guys out there that are part of teams that beat the casinos. So my question is there situations sometimes that you're notified about or you know about where actually it's positive play because it's a progressive up to a certain amount, whether it be grocery stores? Because when I see people in grocery stores, I have to admit it. Maybe I'm wrong. I always think, look at these poor people playing their victims and the Smiths or
usually they are, yeah.
The 7-Elevens or stuff. Look at these poor people playing such terrible payout machines. But have you been privy to that kind of information where it's worth something?
Yes, I mean now and previously, even before cell phones and the internet and everything else, there was what I used to, the information conduit is what I used to call it. And that was like, again, there were no cell phones or anything, but people would contact one another and say, "Hey, there's something good going on here." And then there was a quid pro quo. You had to, respond in kind.
Sure.
When you found something to stay in this.
Right.
And of course, when the internet came and cell phones came, constantly this week alone, I got a couple of texts from people going, "Good game here, boom, boom, boom." And
really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun? I love that, by the way. I'm nuts. I'll go. I'll actually go. Someone says to go, I'll just go. I just enjoy getting. Knowing I get the best of it, I'm going to play some progressive or something. Yeah. There was recently a one over on Boulder Highway that was ridiculous. And of course, the guy with the most money, though, won it. But I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of money. I don't know if you heard about that progressive they had.
I know which one. I know which one. Oh, that was that Club Fortune.
His girl won it.
Yeah,
right.
That was at Club Fortune. I was alerted to that.
He has to win it. Guy's got millions of dollars. I mean, it's like
that's people he does those things.
Grinding out there, and he has to. There was grinders there, and no, but I like him though. He's a good guy. He's helped me with some things too. So
well, you had to get there early. I mean, I said, you know what? By the time I said, how long has it been out there? And they told me, I said, you know what? By the time I get there, Club Fortune way out there on Boulder, I go, there ain't gonna be a seat.
How much did she win again?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It was like
$500,000?
Yeah, it was about 600.
Imagine that.
Like that.
That's how much it was worth.
Yeah.
And this guy won.
And it was, and
Anthony went, like he said, I didn't go there. He actually was going. He said, I should go over there. But
well, they evaluate these things on dollar per hour.
Right.
A lot of people,
how much is it worth per hour?
A lot of people say to me, like, well, you must be a mathematical genius. I go, not even close.
Me either.
And all you've got to do in order to do well at this. Well, you got to be disciplined, of course.
Yep.
But in terms of the math, you just have to understand probability. You have to have a real good feel for probability, and you have to know algebra because you have to make an equation. In algebra, you make equations, and at the end of the equation, there's an equal sign, and then there's a plus or a minus, and that's your expected value. If it's a plus sign, if it's a minus sign, you walk away, meaning I'm going to lose.
Yep.
If it's a plus sign, then you evaluate what's it worth. And the positive EV on that was ridiculous, like $200-300 an hour. Is what those guys were paying.
$200 an hour, $300 an hour.
That was their expected value.
Win. It's not you're going to make that.
Right. Sure.
You have to hit the jackpot. The big portion of it is to hit a royal or hit something.
But we just published a book of a year and a half ago called The 21st Century Card Counter by Colin Jones, and this is like the best new book on blackjack out there because it talks about the new way of playing, the way these guys are playing these days. I keep saying guys, but no offense to the women, guys and girls. And they're very aggressive. They just go for the throat. Like when I was talking earlier about the act, they don't really care about the act. They just go for the throat.
So they'll go in and spread high.
Yeah.
Start $25, and then next thing you know, they're betting $500.
Until they get kicked out. But what's great about this book and why people should read it, again, the 21st Century Card Counter, is that the author literally worships at the altar of expected value.
Wow.
EV. Everything he talks about is in EV terms. And that's really the way that you should conduct yourself in gambling and in life, in my opinion. Everything's an EV calculation. You can make a calculation, an equation out of just about anything. Should I switch jobs? Should I ask that girl out? Should I, go to this place or this place for dinner? You can make an expected value equation out of this and come up with very, very good decisions.
Wow. So cool.
So interesting. I have a question. What are your thoughts on free bet blackjack?
Good game. Free bet's a good game. Yeah.
Really?
I haven't spent.
John Orlando.
No, by a good game, I mean it's a game that the public likes. I mean, good for the casinos.
Okay, good for the casinos.
Oh, good for the casinos.
Because I automatically say, wait a minute, this is actually a good game, like for us.
It feels like it should be good for the player.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to feel for you guys.
They pay for doubles and splits.
Right. Yeah, but it's not a game that you can walk into and just beat. I mean, there are ways, but I mean, for the average person, they're going to be playing at a negative expectation in the game. But it's a good game because it's fun and it's slow and it's
like Spanish 21 are just fun games, I guess.
Yeah.
These different versions of black. All those side bets are usually sucker bets unless there's a progressive over a certain amount. We don't want to let people know that. They're sucker bets. Any side bet you can make in any game in the casino is a sucker bet.
That's the rule of thumb, yeah. The rule of thumb is that every side bet, don't do it. Now there are times when they're progressive and things like that. Or if you're getting hole cards or whatever, certain kinds of counting and things like that. That's
what Anthony means is hole cards that's a new way of a lot of people. Bigger guys like me have a tough time doing that. But there's a lot of people. I know a doctor that used to put you in a wheelchair to be level with the casino, put a cast on your arm, but you're level with the dealer. What Anthony's saying is you're catching the hole card. It's called hole carding.
Yep.
A lot of the casinos now are more weary of that compared to years ago where they didn't know anything, especially at the carnival type games, the 3-card pokers and stuff. You get a glimpse of one card, it's worth so much, 2 cards worth so much. But also even in blackjack, sometimes the way the dealer holds the deck, if you get a rookie dealer or a new dealer, sometimes those party pits, sexy pits, they'll have like a dealer just hold like here, and meanwhile they'll be pushing the card out, and they don't even realize what they're doing. You're getting a good glimpse of that card. Am I understanding that right?
I want to make 2 points about this.
Sure.
One is that is legal.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of people go, that's cheating.
Right.
No, it's not cheating because the dealer is supposed to protect his hand. You're not using any kind of a mirror or anything else to get a glimpse. All you're using is your eyes.
That's right.
You're using your eyes. Now, some people will take it farther, like you said, the wheelchair.
Yeah.
You know, a guy will come up in a wheelchair. And
it's just frowned upon. It's not cheating, right?
That's kind of
the deal.
That's pushing the envelope. Right?
Frowned upon.
That's pushing the envelope.
But still not cheating.
This has gone to courts and it's been ruled on. And the reason
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I always played very ethically. I had a code. You know, two things. I didn't want to go to jail.
Right.
So I didn't want to break the law. And two, I didn't want to cheat.
Right.
So I always played on the right side of the law. Right. And one day I was playing at a place called Key Largo. I don't you remember that?
Of course.
Okay, Key Largo's long gone.
Yep,
But
long
I remember Key Largo.
Yeah, it was down there by Paradise Road.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And one day the dealer's just talking and doing, and he's flipping the cards, and I'm looking, he's putting them right in my face. And I'm like, you're showing me the card. and I looked up at him, and he had no idea. It wasn't like he was doing it to get tips or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. If that's what they're going to do, I can take advantage of that.
Right.
And that's the way I've always viewed hole carding. So, you know, that's one. The second is you mentioned the Carney games. The Carney games are things like 3-card poker, let it ride, blah, blah, blah. Getting a hole card can be very, very strong in that. And we're doing 2 books by the guy we just mentioned, James Grosjean. And one is a basic strategy book on how to play these games. The second one, it's called The Ultimate Report. The second he did during COVID, so it's called Lockdown. And he talks about all the way to get advantages through hole cards and stuff. And there's going to be like a $300 price tag on that book because that's how valuable it is.
Sure.
So,
there weren't a lot of people getting it.
These are how, you know, and again, these are legal ways of winning. Of course, they're very much frowned upon. But all the casino has to do is police their games.
That's right.
You know, fix their dealer. That's the quotes. Fix that guy.
That's
and
right.
say, hey, hold your cards this way, not, you know, like that.
Yeah, let me ask you, that you're saying about being frowned upon and stuff. This is a subject that's, let me just tell you, I just hit me. I learned this in the Las Vegas Advisor 25 years ago. Some of these different advantages and stuff, and maybe it was on a forum. I used to always respond to these forums and used to go on and, you know, post under my name, and people you would find out. But there was always talk about the Las Vegas Advisor. So let me ask you this: 2 things. One, when a dealer overpays you by accident, so it's a mindset. You're dealing for so many hours a day, and literally,
It's a great question.
the first 4 guys have 20, you have 17, and the dealer turns a 4-card 18, and they just say, "Oh, okay, 18, you got 20, and pay everyone, including the 17." Now, I want to tell you, the casinos have so many different ways they have cut into the players' pockets, and not only 6 to 5 blackjack, 000 roulette, they every single way, cutting comps, cutting your Theo down. What that means, the Theo is supposed to be calculated based on a certain number, and it's not. Trust me, every casino they rob you on Theo. You ask for comps, and they want you to charge it to your room, and there's so many different things I get mad about. Now, people will call that cheating. I don't call it cheating. Do you?
No.
Okay.
I keep it.
Yep, I keep it too.
When
And you know,
I keep it. It's happened to me countless times.
I guarantee you now that we're going to get responses. Oh, I would never. That's cheating.
No,
Listen,
you know,
it is what it is.
You know why I keep it? Because I'm paying attention.
That's right.
And it's my job to pay attention, and it's their job to pay attention.
Yeah,
and
sure.
when they underpay me, I call them on it because I'm paying attention.
Right.
And if they were paying attention, they wouldn't overpay me.
Right.
So
Right.
to me, that's a game strategy.
Yep.
And now it's a little bit different at the cage.
Right.
If you go to the cage and they mispay you at the cage,
This is going to be great.
I give that back.
Of course.
Because now they're
They're
going
gonna
to get
call
in
you.
trouble.
They're responsible
Yeah.
for their draw. Not going
Right.
to call you.
Right.
That's that person.
They could lose their
They
job.
can lose their job.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
had a poker friend got overpaid at the cage by $1,000, and they did call.
Wow.
And he brought it back.
Well,
he
he
didn't catch it either.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because no, that individuals I would never want to get in trouble. Even the sports book or something, I
Right.
always make sure that they're
Right.
they're responsible
Yeah.
for their draw. You
Sure.
can't do that to them.
Yeah.
But you know, these casinos, I think about it. We're all human. We all do our own thing. I talk about sometimes the human condition. We can't help ourselves and stuff. But you know, we're all human. But I'll tell you this though: when you're literally cashing out or something, if you're losing money, your brain in the casino just thinks so many different things.
Sure.
Really, the right thing to do, guys, give the money back to those individuals because they're going to lose their job over that. You don't want to do that. But in the casino itself, listen, I have no problem. Listen, this is what I was going to. This is the reason I was going to brought the subject up. So I read something in the Las Vegas Advisor about 100-time odds at a casino in the middle of the strip called Casino Royale. You know, this is 25 years ago.
Probably Nob Hill back then.
Oh yeah, but so I went in there, but I went in there because they had 100-time odds at the crap table, and I admit it. I went with my buddies because we read something on a forum. I don't want to say it was in here, but it was due to this article that the dealers there were it's a break-in house. It's where they were breaking in. So you have 100-time odds. Just think of this. You put $5 on the crap table. That means you can back up the odds to $500. It's literally a minuscule little peanut of an edge that the house has for that bet, for that whole bet, just on the $5. But the odds behind are paying true odds. But if you go in there and put $5 down at $138 odds, the dealers just didn't know what to pay.
Right.
So if they pay correctly, that's fine. You take the money. And if they pay incorrectly, it's not my fault. It's their fault. You have to know, though. Sitting there, you know that if you have $140 down on your odds, if you're getting 3-2 on your odds, you're supposed to get $210 back.
Right.
And they're supposed to. And if they just don't, they were just guessing. So I read, though, about people in there, and I touch a Bible. I've seen it myself. And you just tip the dealer. Here you go, $10 for you guys, $20 for you guys. They were overpaying you on that. And, you want to think that it's just mistakes, and you don't want to. I'm not saying you just go to take advantage of the mistakes. I never even win again. But it happens, though. And you find these little edges. By Anthony Curtis's Las Vegas advisor. Good job.
I've been paid, overpaid on Blackjack on a bet. I've been paid when I had 22.
Yep.
And I've gotten paid out when the dealer had 22.
Wow. But you see, Anthony said,
6, 7 cards. They're trying to move quick, and they mess up.
He said, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, it's a game strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew a guy that used to know when they would switch, religiously every day. They would switch from $5 minimum to $25 minimum it was at Caesar's Palace. This was way back. They were even dealing $5 craps during the day. So this is a long time ago. He knew when the change came on. And he'd come 20 minutes early and bet steadily $5 in the field, $5 in the field, five, 5. And they'd switch it over. He'd keep betting 5, and they kept paying him with quarters.
Wow.
Until they realized.
Yeah, because they realized, but then they finally realized,
He'd do it all the time until they caught on, and then he'd go away and come back and do it again, when there were different workers there. So, I mean, a lot of these, you could call them gray if you want, but I mean, they're strategies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Last thing I have for you is, we haven't talked about this at all, even when we were on the show last week, 2 weeks ago. Mattress Mack. How did you get involved with him?
Oh, that was great. I mean, that's one of the coolest of all the things I've done. It's one of the coolest things I've been involved in. In 2019, when the Astros were on the way to the World Series, they ended up losing in Game 7 to the Nationals. Okay. But he had Mattress Mack has a gallery furniture in Houston. And he is a promoter, and he tells people if you buy X amount of furniture and the Astros win, you get all your money back.
Okay.
All right. So he did this, and he had a gigantic liability over $20 million between 20 and 30
million was a liability on them.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Well, by the time
20 to 30.
By the time we were done with this story, it was over 40. But he would typically get insurance. That's what people do. Let's say you have a hole-in-one contest or something like that. And somebody says, okay, you're going to get $1 million if you make a hole-in-one, and they'll get insurance for $75,000 or $100,000 or something like that to guard against that, because they don't mind paying that out, but they don't want to pay the $1 million. So he went to get insurance like he had in the past at Berkshire Hathaway. They wouldn't do it because I think it was Zach Greinke or something like that. They had just put on another great pitcher, and there was going to be a real problem. They were prohibitive favorites to win it. He couldn't get insurance at a good price. So one day I hadn't heard anything about this. I get a phone call from a guy, and I take the call, which I usually do. I talk to our people when they call, and he identified himself as an attorney from Houston who represented a businessman with a liability that they wanted to hedge. And this guy was an LVA member, right?
Oh, wow.
The attorney.
Oh, cool.
And he says, look, here's our situation. I go, is it Mattress Mack? He goes, yeah, okay, so you know. And I hadn't known about this. So he explains it to me. He's got $20-some million in liability. If the Astros win, we can't get insurance. Can this be hedged through sports betting? I go, sure it can. I go, absolutely it can. He goes, would you be interested in taking this on for pay, as a consultant to shepherd us through this? I said, I'll do it if I can get one guy to work with me. If I can get my guy, a guy named Frank B.
Yeah.
You know Frank.
Yep, Frank Benetti. Yeah.
Frank, universally
sharp guy.
Yeah,
Very good.
is heralded as one of the best guys in the business. And Frank and I have been buddies for a long time. So I called Frank. I go, how's this sound? He goes, this sounds great. He goes, we're going to do this. What made it really difficult is because as they won and won and won, the odds got shorter and shorter. So all of a sudden, we're not getting big giant 10-to-1s and things like this. It's getting shorter and shorter. You're getting 2-to-1 maybe. We're getting 1.75. And we had to get down so much money in 42 days, and we got him hedged. We got him completely hedged. So it didn't matter. When we went into Game 7, he was rooting for the Astros like crazy.
Sure.
And so were we, because we wanted him to be happy and win. But when the Astros lost, he made the same profit that he would have if they won because we had him hedged
Sure,
perfectly.
you had him hedged perfect.
So ever since then, we've worked with him on just
Every
about
year?
every promotion. Yeah.
Wow.
That is so cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is really cool.
Wow. And he's a nice guy. You guys met him, obviously.
He's terrific.
He's good?
Yeah, he's just a really good guy. And
Pretty generous guy, too, right? With like he's gives away money to different charities and mattresses.
Philanthropic, yeah.
Philanthropic's the word, yeah.
You know, every time there's a problem like a hurricane or something, he opens up his mattress stores and takes people in, you know, when they're put out of their homes and things like that. You know, he just bleeds orange, man. He bleeds orange for the Astros. He just loves those guys.
Wow.
And he just won the biggest sports bet ever.
Yeah.
$73.6 million.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And to put that in context, the biggest month that all of the sports books in Nevada have ever had, their biggest win was $72 million.
So think of that.
Collectively.
Really?
Mack himself won more than the best month in history for all sports books.
For legal ones, I tell you what, you wouldn't believe this. I know of some stories internationally with PinnacleSports.com.
I'm sure of that.
Yeah, there were some guys that like some I don't want to say which family, but yeah, one. But I mean, legally, that's the biggest one ever talked about, and it's amazing. Congratulations to him and to you. And
you know, real quick here.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're wrapping up, but I mean, you guys gave me credit last week for something that I didn't do.
Okay, what?
Right? You said that Anthony Curtis was in.
Oh, yeah.
was in Psycho.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. I received many messages. I
what
screwed
Anthony
that
was
up.
it? Tell us.
Anthony Perkins.
That's Anthony Perkins.
But Anthony Curtis is a
is
bigger
an actor
star.
or was an actor.
Bigger, like Anthony Curtis here said.
Yes.
he was a bigger star.
Right.
I don't know how did I blow that?
But
I don't know how I blew that.
People do that all the time. But I was at Mandalay Bay several years ago, and it was a big party. It was a press party, and they had a lot of celebrities there. And there's Tony Curtis sitting by himself in a corner.
Oh, wow.
And we talked Heinekens earlier. I'm about 3 or 4 Heinekens in, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? You know, and I walk up to him, and he looks at me, and I go, hey. I'm Tony Curtis, too. He shrugs.
Oh, wow.
He looks away.
Really? That was it?
Guess what? I heard he wasn't the best person.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
He just
He's not
shrugged
like
and
your
looked away.
not like your dad. John's dad is just so warm and welcoming to everybody.
Before we go, we should plug the Crack Wins app.
good.
It's available on Apple and Google Play, or just go to crackwins.com. Get in the winner's circle. You should definitely get the Las Vegas Advisor to coincide with all this.
No, the Las Vegas Advisor is still now. It's listen. It's an easier. Obviously, this is easier for people at home. Everyone has a computer now too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we still got college football, some of the bowl games. We still have lots of stuff. NFL props. You guys know I'm not real big on NFL sides. I really don't know many people that can beat it. I mean, one guy I know, and he's even struggling this year with it. So that's Syndicate Group. So, but you'll have the different things like. Literally, we bet first half totals. I will bet that. That's beatable. I'll bet proposition bets and college basketball's here, so that's cool.
Download the app Crack Wins today, Apple, Google Play, and you don't have to do a deep dive, but definitely visit WSN and claim your sign-up bonuses.
WSN.com. There's unbelievable sign-up bonuses. Guys, I still don't understand sometimes how they have negotiated better deals for you to sign up with these sports books all over the country than a lot of the actual going to the site itself. So, and of course, all the stories, the weekly stories, all the stories about sports. There's a lot of tips there. All of our shows are there. WSN.com.
This was a perfect way to wrap up the year with this particular guest. This was.
I
could
happy
sit
you
here
come
for
in.
3 hours and talk to you.
Thanks for coming in. We'd love to have you come in again.
Yeah,
because we could just talk advantage gambling and try to make some people some money. I'll take a tweet out of the show and throw it on my Twitter for people.
Yeah. This was really great.
Who's going to turn down a chance to talk about themselves for an hour? I'll be there.
Oh, good.
I love it. All right, gang. Well, that wraps up 2022 for
Happy
Wise
New Year,
Kracks, and we'll see you next year.